Right, just a quick mic check. Okay, we should be good to go. Right, let's go. We are in the investigation of Chihiro's murder. So we are joining Togami for this investigation. The word bloodlust is written on the wall in blood. What's the meaning behind it? Bloodlust. Really, that's not going to be added as a truth. The poster's got some blood in it. It must have happened during the murder. I'm sorry, but that was in the boys' locker. I've got to talk to Togami on this one. If you have time to talk, you have time to start investigating. But I have been. There's a dumbbell on the floor, and this is a blood stain. There's a blood stain on the dumbbell. The Montgomery said blow to the head with a blunt object is what killed her. Does that mean this dumbbell was actually the murder weapon?
That's right.
I don't imagine it could have been anything else. Yes. It has been added as a truth bullet. To be used. I could feel the life draining out of my own body. It's a dead Chihiro's dead body.
Very strange.
But the more I look at it, the more strange it all seems. There must be a genocide. Well,
what?
But we're still not sure he did it. Is that what you wanted to say? I wonder about it. Let's talk to everyone else. I use this locker room all the time. Now it's become a site of Chihiro's death. But why was she killed in the locker room? Actually, if you think about it, she could have been killed somewhere else and carried here. Well, that could be true. She was very light, that is true. It wouldn't be hard for someone to carry her, but still.
Well,
I still think she came here on her own by choice. What makes you say that? She'd been talking a lot lately about how she wanted to get stronger. So you're saying she came here to exercise? But according to the Montgomery file, apparently she was killed around 2 in the morning. Would she really have been exercising that late?
perhaps.
Hina or myself are usually in the locker room during the day, so she should be avoiding it then. Avoiding it. Although we invited her to join us more than once, she never showed up. So I can only assume she was trying to avoid this. And instead she came to exercise in the middle of the night.
However,
Perhaps. But it's difficult for me to imagine she would have come alone. She did not want to start exercising, but she specifically mentioned she can do it by herself. She needed support from others. So So you're saying she could have come here in the middle of the night to train in secret, but that she also would have come with someone else. It's a possibility, I think. Okay, security game trooper. There's a fresh bloodstain on the carpet. It must have been splattered during the murder. That means she would have had to be here and then was put up. She took her time examining Chihiro's corpse. She's poked and prodded, going over every inch of the lifeless body. You're a very strange woman, you know, being able to touch a dead body without slipping, no trouble. She seems to be concentrating pretty hard, it's like she can't even hear us. Jude had a real complex about being weak. You heard Chihiro talk about it, right? Or like, to get stronger. Yeah, I do remember. She said that more than once. Sure did, which I guess explains the trip down. But did she really need to get stronger that badly? You already mentioned it, but she was a demon after all. Most girls aren't all that strong. I don't know, man. I haven't really thought about that stuff. The cause of Chihiro's complaints. I can't help wondering what it might be. Now I believe it's about time for us to move on. Already.
What?
New clues won't magically appear by standing around here and treating every aspect of this case. That's true, but
Let's go.
If you're satisfied, let's hurry up and proceed. It's so pushy, I got caught up with the wrong person this time. So this is our next location. And this place was related to the investigation. Figure it out for yourself. It's no fun if you don't figure out. Maybe this gun was used. No. Impossible. If that were true, Chihiro would be rid of the fox. There are a bunch of different pool-related items on the shelf which have nothing to do with this case. Yeah, figured that. Alright, let's go in here. That's not even a scene of crime. Oh, there might be something in there. If I remember this.
What?
You have an issue with it, so you should take it up with Conquer. He said that, then quickly shot and clapped his hands together.
Did you call for me?
Has he been domesticated?
That's right.
Seems that my coach has a question for you.
You need something?
Sure, what's up? Well, it's just about this card reader.
Yep.
All have been designed to interface with each of your e-handles. You can only enter the locker room corresponding to the gender listed in your individual note. And it's impossible for two people in a row to go through while the door is unlocked, correct?
Unbelievable.
If there were some sort of erotic terrorist on the prowl, the ceiling-mounted Gatling gun would initiate a Swiss cheese slaughter. And the school regulations prohibit anyone from lending someone else their handbook, correct?
Of course.
Correctly correct. So then, that means only girls can go in the girls' locker room, and only boys can go in the boys' locker room. In other words, Chihiro's body being found in the girls' locker room means... Hey, I can see right through. See right through. Allow me to tell you what you're... Since Chihiro was found in the girls' locker room, the killer must have been able to get in there.
So in other words,
As such, the killer must be one of the girls. Did I get it?
such
Good
ignorance.
thought, you're simple. But am I wrong? You should pay closer attention to the regulations in front of you the entire time. Loaning your e-handbook to another student is strictly prohibited. Only the act of loaning a handbook is prohibited. Borrowing someone's is perfectly fine. I would expect nothing less from the prodigious son of the noble Turkey family. So you have managed to sniff out the loophole in the regulations. Knowing I would bet you created it on purpose, didn't you? To add a little more excitement to things. You're treating me like a puny little appetizer instead of the main course that I am. Now then, since the dead can't actually talk, they're not people anymore, they're things. That's just...
Yep.
Get it? Got it? Good. Wait, hold on, you're saying that there's a loophole, but in order to borrow something from someone, then that means someone will have to loan it, so
Why
so
you?
sleepy. Just listen to you makes me want to pass out. Be more like token me and get your poop together.
Unbelievable.
Or else I'll charge you with criminal negligence. No more questions. Figure out the rest of your own yourself.
That's fine.
Well, I know you are unfortunately lacking in mental faculties, but so I will fill you in myself. Let's head to the main hall. The main hall. That will help you understand what's going on. Okay, that's been added to true bullets. Alright. We came to the main hall. So what are we looking for here? Does that mean I have to figure out for myself? This. Long metal blocking entrance seems like some kind of machine. No? Okay. Ah, probably this. There's a mailbox here. Could there be something inside? It's an e-handbook. Oh wait, there's 3 of them, but what are they doing here? So you finally found them. Did you know these were here? I happened to find them by chance myself the other day. Ah! Because he knew where to go. He knew about the messages, like bloodlust, and how people were hanged, sort of thing, like crucified. So, and he knew where the handbooks were, so it could actually be him. It seems there's a system in place where the handbook of a student get delivered to this mailbox. So then these 3 handbooks belong to Junko, Leon, and Sai. You can go ahead and confirm it yourself. I only determined when I did. Saika Meissner. You're right, this is Saika's handbook. Now do you understand this is the key to the loophole that I revealed earlier? Yeah, I feel like I'm starting to get it. You should pay close attention to the regulations. The answer is being in front of you. Okay, we've already seen this. I see. Yeah, now I understand. Alright, that's a truth bullet.
What?
Hold on a second. What's wrong?
Very
That's
strange.
strange. One of the handbooks won't turn on. Is it broken? Whose is it? The other handbook showed Junko's name when I started it up. Then the one that won't turn on, it must be Leon's, right?
I see.
It would make sense, yes. After all, he did get pummeled with dozens and dozens of baseballs. Pummeled with baseballs. Oh yeah. The memory of it came flooding back. The cruel punishment which led to Leon's death. The execution that the mastermind had committed. This execution I have uploaded to the channel, so you can just watch that, or you can watch the live stream that I did on it. The cruel, heartless death. You're right, it wouldn't be a surprise for the handbook to break during that kind of assault.
Damn it!
Hey.
You're
Oh my god,
making
no,
me angry!
I'm not going to repeat.
Now I'm...
What? That e-handbook is essential to a student life here, crucial, integral, instrumental, and super big deal. There's no way it would break that easy. But it did.
That's impossible!
I say it wouldn't break, it wouldn't freaking break. It can withstand up to 10 tons of pressure, and it's waterproof up to 100 meters, okay? I don't care how many baseballs you hit it with, it wouldn't do crap. But even my amazing handbook does have one single weak point. It does.
I can't hear you!
But it's a secret. I wouldn't want you to go breaking any more handbooks.
What?
Then Leon must have broken it somehow without realizing what his weakness was, right? I have to say. You know, I think his handbook isn't actually broken.
What?
But you might ask, how could that be? Leaving the question hanging in the air, Monokuma disappeared. What just happened? Monokuma said it's not broken, but it's undeniable fact that it's not turning on.
That's fine.
Well, I don't see any connection to the case, so it doesn't matter for now. You think so either? Something about it still bothers me. Okay, here we are, broken e-hand. Okay then, this should be enough to get things rolling. Let's begin our investigation in the earnest track of the true goal. Yeah, we need to find out who killed Chihiro. To be exact, not quite. Not quite. Okay, now you're confusing me, Toguri. There's nothing else around here that would help. What do you mean by that, Toguri? To be exact, not quite. Certainly, I want to reveal Chihiro's good, but more precisely, I want to discover the true identity of Genocide Jack. Then you really think, you truly believe Genocide is the one that killed Chihiro?
Don't make me repeat myself.
Absolutely, I have no doubt that Genocide Jack is the culprit in this case. There's a call for action. The murderous fiend is Genocide Jack, right?
What?
There's nobody else it could be. A murderous fiend who kills again and again using a bizarre and brutal method. They're like a ghost, attacking suddenly then slipping away before the police can catch up to them. And what nickname did the internet give to this mysterious guy? Genocide Jack. They say he's killed thousands of people, but that's gotta be an urban legend. Still, could one of us really be a demented psychotic killer like that? You're not wrong to wonder. But words mean little right now. I have something that will prove it, and I can show you. Okay, show me then. Looking you again.
Don't.
And I have basis to believe that. I assure you, Jinsei Jack is one of us. The phone is a ring. There is no help to me.
Don't make me repeat myself.
Is there really proof? There's somewhere where I'd like to take you. This will provide all the evidence you need.
It's all clear now.
Evidence that Genocide Jack is the one that killed Chihiro. Evidence? Is there something like that, really? Hey, you two. Big trouble, need your help.
I don't have time to
We're
play with
busy.
you.
Leave us alone.
Cause, I
It's
mean,
emergency. Come on, Pete, you gotta help. Okay, what's up?
please!
Please, you gotta help. Just calm down, okay?
Cause, I
But
mean,
it's an emergency. Okay, what is it? An emergency? What happened?
well,
Something's wrong with Choco. She's acting super strange. Well, I mean, she was acting pretty strange earlier, right? What should we do?
Very strange.
Choco, I must admit, I'm intrigued. I suppose we can take a second to see what's going on with her. Are you sure?
Don't make me repeat myself.
I didn't expect that. I thought sure he'd just say no, that'd be the end of it.
yeah!
Hang on guys, I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that guys, I have returned. Wait for us, Hina.
Let's go.
It looks like she headed to the doors to check this room and stuff. Right. Alright. I think you're just too fast. So what's the emergency?
So,
Well, after what happened in the locker room, we left Toko in her room so she could lay down. After a while, we came back checking her, you know, so see how she was doing. But when we did, it was weird. She refused to come out. She kept saying all this weird stuff.
That's fine.
We should try talking to her ourselves. Yeah, good idea. Okay. I may as well give it a shot. Dino. Door swung open slowly inside. An aura of negativity flows out from the door, forcing a gas bell.
What? Oh, nothing. It's just that Hina was really worried about you holding yourself up in your room.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, sure thing. But could you open up just for a second?
won't allow it.
Huh?
I won't let Genocide Jack have control.
Just like that, she slammed the door in my face. She's been acting like that the whole time when I rang a little while ago. I'll drive out the killer, drive out the murderers.
Um,
It doesn't make any sense, right? I was afraid to leave her in there alone, so I tried to bust down her door. But it felt like something was holding it shut on the other side. I couldn't even budge it. Toko was scared enough to even bear her. So she has to be Genocide Jack? Because from what she said, does she think the same thing as Toko? Does she think she really murdered Chihiro? Is that why Toko's so scared?
but
Whatever it is, I'm really worried about her. Isn't there anyone who might be able to persuade her? Takumi, you give it a shot. She seems to like you. Hey Mika, do you think you can ask to come out of her room? Maybe?
That's
Sure,
fine.
whatever. Hey, you're gonna talk to her? Well, I guess you can be nice when you want. Stood in front of the door, not making a sound, pressed the door. Ding dong. After a few moments, you opened once more.
what do you want?
You're so annoying.
It's Byakuya.
I'm sorry, I couldn't keep our promise. But don't worry, never again. I won't let Genocide have control of it ever again. The door slammed shut. There's nothing else we can do. Let's go back to the investigation. Hold on. What's talking about just now? Something about a promise?
What?
Oh, I have no idea. Another one of her delusions, I'm sure. But
Stop talking.
if I say I don't know, that means I don't know. Just let Hina take care of it. Oh, yeah. I'll stay here and keep an eye.
Let's go.
Oh, then let's go. Without waiting for a reply, Takumi sped away. Okay, so he has a promise with her. And it's something about Genocide Jack as well. He has to be behind the murder, surely. And I hurried to catch up. I tried to talk to him several times as we walked, but he didn't even look back, let alone say anything. He just kept on walking towards his destination. Finally, his feet brought him to a stop in front of a certain room. The library. Come on, let's go. Okay. I don't want to read books. This is the evidence that proves it was Genocide Jack really in the library.
Don't make me repeat myself.
Where? Where do I look? There are no clues there. We need to check elsewhere. Here? If I remember on the other side of this door, it's the archive, right? Hurry up and go inside. Oh, here?
Let's
It
go.
all makes sense once you're inside. Whoa, there's so many books and files. And so much dust, too.
So, in other words,
I would say there's enough value in this place to endure dust. Here? There's so many files stuffed onto the shelf. What's in all these things?
that's enough.
Those documents are dangerous. Dangerous? They detail all the people who control the world from behind the scenes. Dangerous truth for a comic. You mean like members of the Diet or something? No, I mean the ones with real power. The Secret Council, controlling everything from the shadows. If you're ready to be disappeared for it, take a look. There are some very interesting people in there. You're just kidding, right? Am I? I'll just let it go for now. Okay, let's talk to him, see what he wants. If you pay attention to your surroundings, I'm sure you'll discover the value for yourself. What's this? There's a wooden box, it's empty. Although, judging by the smudges and dust, it looks like there was something inside. I wonder what it was. There was an extension cord plugged in there. It proved very useful while I was in the library. An extension cord, huh? There was one at the murder scene. It's a desk. Oh yeah, the same one I saw that I've been using in the library before.
What?
Do you have a problem with that lamp? It was here before, then I moved it over there. It's too dark over there, so I thought I'd put it to good use. Yeah, got a coin. Oh. No. Okay. What's this? The reveal one. There's power, secret, has control here. Shadows, the detail, control one. What are you going to do? For now, I think I'd rather not. No, same thing. This shelf stuffed tight with files. Without really thinking about it, I picked one at random. I'll say I have a sharp eye indeed to select that file. Huh?
That's right.
That's the report potential assassination. The original is kept at the National Library. It won't be declassified for another 30 years. Are you sure you want to look at it right now? There's no telling whose crosshairs you might wind up in for peeking at it. Without making a sound, I return the file to the shelf. Okay. There's a ton of thick files left. Thinking of destroying them, let me give you a little warning. Those are filled with graphic, disturbing photos from all kinds of scenes. It's the kind of thing any normal person wouldn't ever want to look at. Be careful. What do you mean? All those files are investigation report to different cold cases. Those are internal documents for police eyes only. They're not the kind of thing you'd expect to leak. So are you finally beginning to understand the true splendor of this library? The entire reason I was interested in the library is because of this room right here. It's home classified government documents, police records, things no ordinary person would ever see. Isn't it magnificent? This can't be for real, right?
Such
I'm
ignorance.
sure, guys, probably anything that doesn't fit into your preconceived reality, you label it a lie. Well, it's not that, it's not like I totally refuse to believe it, but I mean, there's just so much. How could anyone have put this all together? I suppose it goes through just to show just how much power Hope's Peak truly wields, or perhaps the mastermind may have wanted to provide us with enough entertainment to keep us from getting bored. It's no use. I can't keep up with all this. It's just too unreal. What's wrong? You still can't believe it? What about you? How can you believe it so easily? things like this are usually impossible.
What?
What do you mean, usually? Usual, normal, ordinary, simple? Those things don't exist anywhere in the world. If you don't understand what they actually represent, you don't understand the nature of anything. You don't pull your punches, do you? Besides, what you consider usual is based on your common sense, right? But what makes you think your own common sense applies to me at all? The documents gathered in here are genuine. I have reviewed them multiple times, there is no doubt, okay? Hold on a second, you're saying you've read all these documents? And more than once? But all this has to be like top secret confidential stuff, right? So why? My family has a reading room just like this at our home. Ours is bigger, of course, not as dusty. Huh? Members of the Togami family have access to any variety of government-related documents. That includes foreign powers as well as domestic. How is that possible?
So in other
I
words,
already told you, there's a secret council that controls the world from the shadows. My family is a member of that council, and I have within me a bloodline that will allow me one day to bend the world to my will. But to become such a ruler, I must know all levels of this world backwards and forwards. So whenever I have time, I like to review whatever documents and materials that interest me. Which is why I can proclaim without a doubt that the materials gathered here are the real thing. This is beyond believing or not believing. Togami is actually starting to scare me more than actual mastermind. And what always interested me the most were the cold case, police investigation reports. Reading through those reports has always been a hobby of mine ever since I was little. It was excellent mental exercise. I solved more than a few of those cases just by reviewing the reports. And among all those reports, one of my recent favourites is the Genocide Jack case. As he talked, Togami grabbed a specific file from the shelf.
that's right.
This is the complete case file. Every single report surrounding Genocide Jack cases has been compiled in here. Because there are so many, allow me to quickly summarize the main points. To begin, there are two notable characteristics in every Genocide Jack murder. First characteristic is that every crime scene, the word bloodlust is written in the victim's own blood. And the second is that when the victims are murdered, their bodies are suspended in a certain way. Bloodlust is written in blood and the victim's body is suspended. Exactly what happened to Chihiro. Save your surprise, the best part is yet to come. For the second characteristic, where the victims are suspended, the only ones who knew about that particular fact were the members of the police and other higher-ups. By all accounts, nobody in the media ever found out. In other words, no one on the news, no one online, nobody knew about that aspect of each crime. Oh, hello, May. Only key officials and the killer himself knew about this act of mounting the victim. And now, if you recall Chihiro's corpse, her body was most certainly mounted in this fashion. So how could the killer have known about suspending the victim?
That's right.
That's the key question. But in fact, the answer is quite simple.
So in other words,
The culprit isn't a copycat killer, it's the real Genocide Jack.
in other words,
That's that right there is the evidence that Genocide Jack has hidden himself among the rest of us. Then Genocide Jack really is such a brutal, fiendish killer really walking around among us.
Interesting.
Things are really starting to get interesting, aren't they? I never imagined a killer with such reputation would ever become part of our little game. Now, don't you think it would be good for you to take a look at what I've already seen? You might just manage to ferret out a clue or two.
Such ignorance.
If you get down on your knees and beg, I might even show you myself. Okay, I'll talk. Well, just like, could you let me see it?
That's
No,
fine.
you didn't beg, but I guess it's okay this time. Feel free to look at it in here, but you can't take it with you. Murder cases of Genocide Jack, top secret. Has handed me the file, and I flipped through it with tense, nervous fingers. Suddenly, my hand stopped. I had reached a page where photos from the scene of each crime had all been collected. The names of the genocide actions ran on for several pages. Ken Harada, 32. Chihiro Honda, 17. Shoji Gaku, 23. Kano Ise, 14. Takashi Yoshida, 30. Yeah. I'm not going to read out all these names. But one thing became perfectly clear as I read. All killers, countless victims were killed and suspended in the exactly same way. And the scene of every murder, the word bloodlust was left in the victim's own blood. Now take a look at the next page and you'll find other interesting tidbits. The next page. Profiling results. All the crimes took place either on weekdays at night or during holidays, either day or night. The most common time for the killings to take place was on holidays in the afternoon. Based on these facts, it could be suggested that the suspect may be a student. Evidence suggests that the suspect lingered at the scene. But when they did leave, they were in a panic, because an eyewitness has never come forward. It's unlikely there were any external reason for this. This confused behavior suggests that the suspect may potentially suffer from dissociative identity disorder.
So, in other words,
The key point here is that the culprit may well have a split personality. A split personality, like the kind of thing you see on TV. So I'm part of another totally unbelievable story. But this one is way more unbelievable than anything else up until now. Or maybe it really isn't, I don't know. I feel like my mind has gone numb. Yay, another truth bullet.
let's go.
Alright, we should get going soon. Huh? Where are we going? Anywhere but here. We have finished our business here, haven't we? Ah, wait, second. Nope, gone. Bye-bye. As usual, Tomi turned and left without another word. I hurried out of the library to catch up. Well, this is where we part ways. I have some things I need to take care of before the class trial. Huh? Just all of a sudden, like that?
I don't have time to play
Come
with
on,
you.
Enough, you're annoying, Miss Attention. Did you really think we'd be together the whole time? Take responsibility for yourself and do something useful. Move the investigation forward on your own.
Goodbye.
Well, goodbye. And just like that, he was gone. Just as quickly as he asked me to join him to cut me off. In the end, I felt like I was just some plaything getting tossed around. And at the same time, I uncovered some really important clues thanks to him. Genocide Jack, he's the one that killed Chihiro. And that murderous fiend is one of us. But who is it? I have to find out. I have to find that out no matter what it takes. And And to do that, there's somewhere I have to go investigate one more time. I have to go back to the crime scene, the girls' locker room. I should check the boys' locker room too. And others might have come up with some info I might find useful while I'm at it. I need to find out everything I can. Right. You wanted to do locker rooms. First of all, how many windows? Can't see any windows, I assume 6. Right, here one. Oh, here's me. No, bye bye. No. Well, this was in. No, the posters have been flipped, and what is this? This poster is a Pokemon boy band called Tornado. Somehow it doesn't quite seem to fit in the boys. Perhaps maybe because this stuff was swapped around. It's a strange stain on carpet. What is it? I don't know. It's like everything's been switched around. Nothing in here that seems to have any effect. Right, we can come out of this locker room. And we need to go into the girls' locker room, I assume. Yeah, there's the body. Right. Kyoguri's moved. Saika. No, not Saika. Sakura. Have you made any progress on your investigation?
Indeed.
Generally speaking.
However.
But I have to get going. I have something unrelated to take care of. Something besides the investigation. What is it?
Well.
Nothing you need to worry about. Just concentrate on the murder. But.
So then.
Before I go, let me give you one piece of advice. You should examine Chihiro's body one more time thoroughly. Also, her handbook is missing. You might want to determine its whereabouts.
Goodbye.
That's it. I'll be praying for your success. With that, Kyoko turned and left the girls' locker room. Everyone's leaving me. I guess I'll take another look at the body. And Chihiro's handbook is missing. That's definitely worth worrying about. She said I should examine the body one more time. So, I know she said thoroughly, but I do have my limits. Well, I'd better give it a shot. Let's see. Chihiro's hands are bound with what looks like some kind of rope. The rope was used to prop her up, kind of crucifix position. This rope has a plug, so that's where this isn't rope at all. But the more I think about it, the more that's not the only thing that concerns me. Chihiro's vision, she was a blow to the head, which means someone struck her in the head in order to kill her. That's right, there's the issue of her being suspended and that fatal blow. At first I didn't see any reason to think too much about either of them. Ah, these guys are suspended by scissors if you look, all of them. So it's not Genocide Jack. It is the true nature of the rope that was used as suspension. And to figure that out, there's a certain place I need to revisit and go again. Plus, it might help to look at the Genocide Jack case one more time. visiting person. Noteworthy part the big-breasted swimsuit model is pretty useful too. A girl's locker room doesn't seem like that kind of place you would find something like this. Oh, but wait, that reminds me. The poster in the other locker room. That's right. Something's definitely strange about this. Boys' locker room is supposed to report 5 hours. The girl's poster of a big-breasted swimsuit model. Couldn't the posters be switched? But if they were, why? What reason would anyone have? Maybe I should talk to someone who knows a little bit more about the locker rooms. Mondo. Dude had a real complex about being weak. We've already read this. Sakura. You spend a lot of time exercising with girls. Right.
Of course.
I used nearly every day since this opened up. Sometimes Hina and I used to get them. Okay then, let me ask you something. Do you think the posters in the boys' locker rooms could have been switched?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I can't really say. I never really paid attention to the posters. I see.
However,
But there is something that's been bothering me about the locker room. You see, I like to drink a little protein coffee every time I finish exercising. We have a protein coffee. In the warehouse, it's not the highest quality, but I don't have a lot of other options. I mixed protein powder with the coffee and down a glass of it after exercising. Anyway, the other day I spilled some on the carpet in the girls' locker room and it left a stain. But I don't see any stain on the carpet now.
of course.
Exactly, I noticed it earlier. The stain disappeared. I can only assume someone came along and cleaned it up. But still, it isn't usually unusually clean, as if there was never a stain there. Yes. Alright. So we've done that. Do you know anything, Chihiro?
Da-da-da-da-da!
Has discovered evidence revealing identity of the culprit.
I feel as if...
Another stat increase for me. Evidence, what did you find? I cannot reveal that just yet.
That's it!
But I guarantee
I'm
that
sure of
the
it!
plan was still the first bathroom is nice. Are you sure about that? Oh yeah, Miss Lindbergh, she said she would do something worthwhile too. Really? What did she say?
Well,
She refused to tell me.
it
It's
would
like
seem...
when a girl bullies the boy she likes, right? Okay, so where's Celeste now? The warehouse by the doors. She was there, but at the same time not there. What's it gonna be? Okay. So we need to visit here for the extension cord. It's not there now. Let's just see what I guess not. I didn't pick that. Okay, guess we're going here. This is where the box with the extension cord was. The box with the extension cord was in there. It's gone. Someone took it out of the archive, but they need to do something like this. Anyway, wrong button. Okay, so now we can't have the case. Lovely. There's still some more I need to check. Like what? There's nothing here for you to check. Found a coin there. Wait, the laptop's missing as well. There's nothing in here to look at. Oh, I see, it's not looking. That before this is reached out. But last time I saw it, there was me on, and it was definitely right there. Oh, that's right, it's using an extension cord. But there's no extension cord here now. I wonder if... Okay, that's been added, so now we can leave. So many places to go to. Oh, here he is.
How unfortunate.
Sorry, Chihiro. It's all because I wasn't strong enough. If you say so. Alright, let's go in here. Oh, there's Celeste. Says what are you drinking? This warehouse is amazing. Everything one might need to live a fortnight. From food to clothes to towels, there's endless supply to choose from. I see that, but have you found anything related to that place?
Most unfortunate.
I knew you were going to ask me that. I thought talking about the warehouse itself might misdirect you, but I see it. Then you did find something. Very well, I will tell you, and don't leave.
Actually,
Last night I saw her here. Chihiro was in the warehouse. What a coincidence.
indeed.
This was right before night.
What are you doing out this late?
Oh, I was just...
Are you planning to go exercise, perhaps?
What? How did you know?
Because I can see a blue track jacket sticking out of that duffel bag you're carrying.
Oh, you're right. Thanks. Well, I'd better get going. I'm...
She stuffed the jacket into her bag in a hurry. It was almost like she was trying to hide it. And just like that, she was gone.
Yes, indeed.
I assume she was merely stocking up to go exercise in the morning, but it would appear she ignored the nighttime rule and headed directly to Goslar. If she hadn't broken our rule, none of this would have ever happened. If you get what you deserve, I suppose. So apparently, she wants to go up at night in order to exercise finding out. But the strange thing is, there was no trace of the track jacket or duffel bag Celeste said she saw Chihiro carrying. That is true, which would mean the killer would have gotten rid of it somehow. Okay, I must get going. Let's go to the sauna, see if anyone's in there. Check this. Okay. Anything in here? No. Eat the sauces. I don't think there's anything serious. Okay. Interesting. Gotta find one other thing. No. Let's try the garbage. Okay, so there's no use. So I have no choice to do anything. Oh, there's, you know. How's Toko doing? Seems before she won't come out, she just keeps mumbling something about genocide. So I just left her there. My head was all swimming and I was getting pretty hungry.
Yeah!
Oh, but don't worry, I'm gonna head back as soon as I'm done eating. Toko's not exactly pleasant, but I'm still worried about her. Speaking of which, what are you eating?
Huh?
A donut, of course. Oh my god. What a donut. Of course. There's two things I'm sure God created out of space donuts. Really? I bet Chihiro would have liked to eat more donuts. Maybe that was her one big regret.
Aww.
Yeah, I should have tried to spend more time with her. Come to think of it, who did she spend time with?
Well...
Yeah, she was a little bit strange. Didn't really hang out with the other girls much. It was like she was trying to keep her distance from us. Actually, Sakura said something similar. She said that even though you had invited her to exercise with you, she always refused.
Yeah, totally.
Yep, it's true. And it wasn't just us either, it was like she stayed away from all the girls. Was she just shy? I don't know, she talked to the boys all the time. Isn't it kind of weird to be shy around your own sex, but totally fine with the opposite sex?
Ah!
Oh wait, maybe she was used to the guys spoiling the law, so she can't judge book by its cover, right? You think so? I never really saw her as that kind of girl. Oh, ding dong, bing bong.
I'm getting tired of waiting. Shall we just plunge right in? It's the moment you've all been waiting for! The class trial! You remember where to meet, right? Please go through the red door on the first floor of the school. See you soon!
Begin the class trial, or it's about to begin. The red door is right through. I don't want to, but fine. Oh, everyone's already here. Is everyone ready to fight? Am I blind or are we missing something?
Yo.
Yeah, Toko's not here.
Huh?
And Toko is... You really don't remember?
Come on!
Just kidding her. How could I forget that little nut job? She's a crucial part of the class trial this time.
What are you gonna do?
Okay, I'll go ahead and drag her out of here, kicking and screaming just for one moment, please. Ding dong, bing bong. And just like he said a few minutes later, he reappeared dragging Toko behind him. I told him I didn't want to, but he forced me. I can't beat you, drag a girl away. Terrible, you're terrible. Now, so everyone's here, right? Okay then, hustle on to the elevator and let's get this show on the road. I'll see you guys down there.
Let's go.
So shall we get going? It's time to find out who killed Chihiro. Chihiro Fujisaki. She was so gentle, so calm, and meek. Nobody had any problem with her. Someone made the choice to kill a girl like that. And that murderer is someone standing right. Right, let's go. Kingdom Mimba. We have no choice, right? We have to do this.
It's true.
Yes. I gave a small nod as in reply. With one last deep breath, I walked toward the elevator on shaky legs. With each step forward, I could feel my heart starting to race faster and faster. As soon as everyone was on, the elevator began to descend. I couldn't handle on my own emotions, couldn't stop speculating. The steel box sank with heavy, clunking sounds deeper and deeper into the ground. And as we went deeper, the uneasiness in my heart grew bigger and bigger. The elevator was unaffected by, however, and continued to descend without hesitation. Until finally, it came to a sudden stop. What do you think? Redecorated. It's so fresh. It's so exciting. He changed it and he decorated. Don't waste your time with stupid questions. Let's get this over with.
Very
Good.
nice.
You're very preparing to go. Gotta say, I don't hate you. Not at all.
Well,
Okay then, let's get the show on the road.
thrills,
Everyone,
chills,
please,
kills!
find your assigned seats. And so the curtain opened once again. And a deadly judgment, a deadly deception, a deadly betrayal. A deadly riddle, a deadly defense, a deadly faith. A deadly class trial. I want to save, yes. Yes. Is that really all I have? No, Monaco. Okay. Alright, we are good.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Okay then. So, first off, let's talk about the murder weapon!
First, we have to make it good. Locker room done that.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been?
You think of some proof for ourselves?
Shoot!
Damn it, didn't think about it. Oops.
Chihiro's fatal injury. It appears it was a head wound.
According to the Monokuma file, the killer used a blunt instrument. But what kind of blunt instrument could it have been?
I bet it was an iron pipe.
No, that's wrong! Can we agree that the object that dealt the fatal blow was the dumbbell, found at the scene of the crime? It was covered in blood, and there was nothing else at the scene that could have caused that kind of injury.
And the wound on the victim's head is consistent with the shape of the dumbbell. As far as I'm concerned, there's no mistake and no room for doubt on this one.
You looked at her head wound?
Yay! That's so creepy!
If you don't mind, I will proceed from here. Let's move on to discussion of the culprit. Although, I believe the criminal behind this heinous act is already quite clear.
What? For real?
Chihiro's killer is the fiendish serial killer, Genocide Jack.
Genocide Jack, interesting. Did he really kill Chihiro? Absolutely, if it's a new thing. There's debate. Lines of white noise will appear to disrupt your reactions. Your truth bullets will disappear if they hit these lines, so think of them as obstacles in your debate. There's ways to keep this white noise from getting in your way. Press the right mouse to attach a silencer, which you can use to shoot down the white noise. However, you shoot a natural remark with your silencer instead of the white noise, the time limit will decrease, so take careful aim if you have your silencer on. But if your action difficulty is set to gentle, the white noise won't appear. In which case you can forget about the silencer and just focus on the situation in front of you. Well then, good luck. Genocide Jack case for now.
The culprit is Genocide Jack. I'm sure of it. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
Hey, so, speaking of Genocide Jack, I don't know who that is!
The culprit is Genocide Jack. I'm sure of it. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's impossible!
Why? What makes it impossible?
Well, I mean, come on! There's just no proof for it.
Yeah, there is.
No, that's wrong! I might know one reason he could be involved.
What?
I found this file while I was looking around the archive in the library. I guess it's some kind of confidential file the police put together about the Genocide Jack case.
What? That's kind of weird as shit, isn't it? What was something like that doing in the library?
The why of it is probably more trouble than it's worth. So let's forget about that for now. More importantly, it outlines all the specifics of every Genocide Jack case in exceeding detail. According to the file, there appear to be two defining characteristics in every Genocide Jack case. The first is that a bloody message is found written at the scene of every murder.
Oh, that's right. Boob lust.
Oh my god.
No. It's actually bloodlust.
But more important is the other characteristic, and it's something that has never been made public.
Never made public? What the hell is it?
Why don't you tell them, Makoto?
The characteristic of Genocide is which the world large doesn't know. It's how the...
I got it! Apparently, in every Genocide Jack case, the killer suspends the body in a certain way. Other than the killer, the only people who know about this are the higher-ups in the police department.
However, Chihiro was most definitely suspended in the same way. So, how did the culprit know about this when only high-level police officials were aware of it? There's only one logical answer I can think of. It's because the culprit in this case is the real Genocide Jack.
No fucking way!
You're saying Genocide Jack is one of us?
Yes, in fact, it's Toko.
What?
Genocide Jack's true identity is Toko Fukawa.
You lie! What? Hey, okay, wait, hold on a sec. Toko has, like, bloodophobia or whatever, remember? What kind of serial killer is afraid of blood?
Is Toko Genocide Jack? The answer is yes and no.
Another riddle? Man, why has this gotta be so complicated?
It's a riddle for sure, but I feel like I understand it. What means for Genocide Jack to be Toko, but also not to be... multiple people, right? Split personality. I don't know. I don't know. S. C. Yeah. Ah, skits. I know what this is. I don't know this. Yeah. Is it an O or a C? I'll try an O. I think that's it.
Now I understand! Is it because Genocide Jack has a split personality?
Huh?
I think I read that somewhere in the file too. They thought that the suspect might have, what did they call it? Dissociative identity disorder.
Oh, okay. But still, to go and say that about Miss Fukawa is...
perfectly acceptable. Toko's strange behavior after seeing the body is proof enough that she has a split personality.
The one thing that shows Jack's personality is to do with her behavior.
I got it!
Her behavior changed.
You're talking about how she started acting totally different than usual, right?
That's right. Think back. She fainted when she saw Chihiro's corpse, and then, when she woke up...
She was acting funny, that's for sure. That melancholy tone of hers completely disappeared.
Don't go assigning adjectives to my tone without permission.
Not to mention, once she regained consciousness and saw Chihiro's body again, she was utterly calm. In other words, within her is one personality that can handle blood, and one that obviously can.
So when Toko trapped herself in her room, it's because she was scared of Genocide Jack?
The reason she locked herself in her room wasn't to keep other people from getting in. It was to keep her other personality from getting out.
What?
Toko was afraid. Afraid of the murderous fiend inside of her. Of killing even more people.
Yeah. How can you know all this?
I do believe you misunderstood her. What she's trying to say isn't, how can you know all this? No. What she wants to know is, how could you tell them?
Huh?
Last night, just before Monokuma gave his motive speech, Toko and I had a strange conversation. She told me a most interesting story. She said a murderous fiend lived within her, and she was afraid it could appear and attack at any time. And that trepidation is what's caused her to have such a bleak attitude. Isn't that right, Toko?
This is all a lie. Right, Toko?
You said you wouldn't tell anyone.
What?
You promised! I can't believe you lied!
You have only yourself to blame. You came to me with your tragic little story. I didn't ask you to. This is the real world, not some romantic fantasy fairy tale. Besides, you broke your promise first. You said that as long as you were here, no matter what, you wouldn't let Genocide Jack kill anyone. But in spite of that promise,
You said if I kept my promise, you would go out with me. That's the only reason I promised.
how many times do I have to tell you? I never said that. But you weren't able to do it. You just couldn't resist that rush you got from killing, could you?
I tried. I swear I tried to control it.
But your efforts were useless. What a disappointment.
I hate you.
Well, the opening act is nearly finished. All that's left is to hear from the person in question directly.
The person you don't mean.
Toko's body suddenly lunged backwards, and a huge thud echoed across the courtroom, but in the next second...
Well, hello there! Is it me you were hoping to see? Yes! What the heck? So you figured it out, huh? Well, whatever. What are you gonna do? I'm the ultimate murderous fiend, Genocide Jack! Or better yet, let's go with Genocide Jill!
What the fuck is this?
Language.
Toko, what happened to you?
Not Toko! That's a loser name, and what happened is a textbook split personality! So what if one of them happens to be a serial killer? You should turn a blind eye to one's faults.
She's so intense.
Like they say, sound in murderous mind, sound in murderous body.
This one is so different from the one we've come to know.
Yes, well, the world is composed of a front and a back, you know. Just like how every inning has a top and a bottom, or how in the depths of every truth lives a little lie. Behind every dark and gloomy soul lives another that shines as bright as the sun!
Miss Jack, Jill, can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Some of us think you might be the mastermind behind our entire situation. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll tell you. I am the mastermind of all masterminds! Just kidding!
Then it's not true?
Of course it's not true! How dare you try to link me to that creepazoid? And another thing, the police and government and society in the outside world are totally powerless! I mean, they just let this idiotic bloodthirsty maniac go buck wild all over town!
Sure, I'm a bloodthirsty maniac, but life is pain, right? To live is to hurt other people. It's a necessary evil if you want to survive. The act of living itself causes pain for everyone. Just kidding again!
This should be enough to convince you. This murderous fiend is responsible for Chihiro's death. There's clearly a motive, so there should be no doubt.
A motive?
Remember what Monokuma told us? If someone didn't murder and graduate within 24 hours, an embarrassing memory or secret would be revealed. Well, let's assume that Toko's secret was about Genocide Jack. If a secret like that came to light, Toko's life would have undoubtedly been forever ruined. So she had a very clear motive to never have that side of herself exposed.
Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. But sorry, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm not the culprit.
Huh?
But I cannot imagine anyone other than you could murder someone in such a bizarre fashion.
Maybe so, but nevertheless, it's the truth.
Do you really expect any of us to believe you?
Yeah. I could never believe a word you say, you monster!
Maybe she's totally right about that, but something's still bothering me. What she said, I need to get some more details about all of this. Status of the body.
Sorry, but I didn't kill anyone!
You say that, but do you really expect any of us to believe it?
Perhaps if you had an alibi, that would change things.
Oh, an alibi, huh? Now we're talking!
When you compare your past murders to this incident, the modus operandi matches completely.
Not completely.
No, that's wrong! Are the methods of murder really exactly the same? I'm not so sure about that. I think there's a slight difference between the Genocide Jack cases and this one.
Huh? How's it any different?
Uh-oh, you don't know? Well then, human garbage, let me tell you! I murder with passion and conviction. I consider myself a professional, and I have a very particular way of doing things. Imagine you go to a fancy Italian restaurant. They're very picky about the noodles, the sauce, everything. But what happened to Chihiro? It'd be like if that same Italian restaurant started using ragu or Chef Boyardee. This is no creation of mine!
Let me rephrase that, in a way that maybe makes more sense. There are two clear differences between the Genocide Jack cases and this one.
The one clear difference between the murders from the photos from Genocide, look at the neck and the stomach. You'll see the clear difference.
I got it! For one, the cause of death is different. In the Genocide Jack murders, all the victims were killed the same way. According to the case file, they were all apparently killed with a pair of scissors. But Chihiro died from a blow to the head, right?
Ah, yes. That is remarkably different from the other murders.
Wouldn't it be strange for someone who kills the same way without fail to suddenly change their method? And there's more. One more conflicting detail.
That's right! In my recipe of murder, if the bloody message is the tortellini, then the arrangement of the body would be the pesto sauce!
Could you please stop comparing killing people to cooking?
So, are you saying the other difference has to do with how the body was arranged?
That's right, the second difference is how the body was suspended. In the photos, the other Genocide Jack cases, all the other victims were stabbed through their hands. You see the clear difference.
I got it! Do you remember what the killer used to suspend her? They used some kind of rope to hang her up by her wrists.
What is your point?
Well, in all the previous Genocide Jack cases, specifically, pairs of razor-sharp scissors.
And guess what? I used my own specially designed scissors for the murders and the arrangement! Like I said, I'm a professional, so naturally I'm very picky about the tools I use. And you know what else? Mac said there's two differences, but he's wrong.
Big Mac? Are you referring to me?
Listen up, Big Mac. There's actually one more difference.
Huh?
My word, you really didn't notice? Take a look at who the victims were in each Genocide Jack case. There's a pattern there, just waiting to be discovered.
A pattern?
Figure that out, and it'll be plain as death why I couldn't have possibly killed that little lolly girl.
Let's see. What was the parents from Chihiro? And if you look at the names of every victim, you'll see it notice was a girl because all the victims were male.
I got it! Is it because Chihiro was a girl?
Bingo! Bullseye! Right on the money!
What are you talking about?
In all the Genocide Jack cases, all the victims had something in common.
Adorable little men! The boy fangirl, and the mopey side of me just hates it. That's the absolute reality of those scissors. Who would go out of their way to use a big, stupid, heavy dumbbell?
Who's the dumbbell? 'Cause you couldn't find any scissors in the school?
Any scissors? I don't just use about that. Da 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 da!
She's fully equipped!
That's right! So I can kill anywhere, anytime! Why would I resort to dumbbells or rope when I have my trusty scissors by my side? Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong! You can't, can you, gutter dogs, all of you! Not to mention, I have no clue how to tie a good knot! So rope's totally out of the question anyway!
I have no idea what's going on anymore! Could such a heinous villain really be innocent?
But the body really was suspended, right? And nobody but the police knew about that.
Yeah! That's why we figured it had to be the real deal, and not some copycat killer or whatever.
Actually, hold on, there's one person. One person who could have covered Genocide Jack cases. Well, he knows everything about them.
Here's my answer! Byakuya, it's possible you could have found out, isn't it? You'd have no problem gaining access to classified government documents or internal police records. Plus, you'd already looked through the Genocide Jack file before this all happened, hadn't you?
Are you saying Mr. Togami did it?
Then, the reason he pushed the theory of Genocide Jack being the killer so hard was because he wanted to pin the crime on her.
So, he rearranged the scene to disguise it and make it look like I put my stamp on it! The adorable glasses man was behind it all! Oh, I'm on fire!
Well, Byakuya, what's your response?
I see. So now the suspicion falls on me. Then I must ask, when would you say I began acting suspicious? Surely you must have an answer.
Looking back and thinking about it now, the way you were acting right before we discovered the body was a little strange. You wanted to go to the girls' locker room right away, right? But since you're a guy...
I should have naturally thought of the boys' locker room first. Is that what you want to say? The victim was Chihiro, a girl. Hence why I said we should check the girls' locker room.
Nothing strange about that, I'd say.
On the contrary, there's something very strange.
Okay then, what's so strange about it? Go ahead, share with the rest of the class.
There was a clear contradiction in what Brent had just said. I need to make it clear to everyone. True flashback. If you aim at a weak spot and hold down the left mouse button, then you'll memorize that weak spot. This memorized phrase can only be shot once because a single truth bullet. If you shoot or change the truth bullet, it will disappear from your truth cylinder. However, you can use this flashback feature as many times as you like. If you don't seem to have any answer to a lie or contradiction in your loaded truth bullets, it might be wise to memorize a different weak spot and use that to make your case. When's the best time for flashback? Well, you'll just have to use your keen wits, won't you? In this case, I will say that if you don't use a flashback, you can't read it. Good luck. One thing back.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kinda weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
you absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So of course I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first. There was no time for pointless distractions. What's so strange about that?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
Okay, so I missed it.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kinda weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room,
you absolutely take it! That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So of course I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first. There was no time for pointless distractions. What's so strange about that?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kinda weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
Oh shit. Science, move forward, control key.
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room...
that's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So of course I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first. There was no time for pointless distractions. What's so strange about that?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
I have it.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kinda weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room...
that's a natural...
The victim was Chihiro. So of course I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first.
There was no time for... what's so strange?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya, but he was acting...
if you're presented with the opportunity...
that's a natural...
The victim was Chihiro. So of course I would suggest we check the girls' locker room.
There was no time for... what's so strange?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya, but he was acting...
if you're presented with the opportunity...
that's a natural...
The victim was Chihiro. So of course I would suggest we...
there was no time for... what's so strange?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya, but he was acting...
if you're presented with the opportunity...
that's a natural reaction for any...
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So of course I would suggest we check the girl... there was no time for... what's so strange?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya, but he was acting...
if you're presented with the opportunity to check out...
that's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So of course I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first. There was no time for pointless What's so strange?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body.
Shoot!
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird.
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out...
That's a natural reaction for...
The victim was Chihiro, who was a girl. So of course I would suggest we check the girls' locker room first. There was no time for pointless distractions. What's so strange about that?
I wish you'd taken me with you.
So, you said Byakuya was acting kind of weird before we found the body. But he was acting weird... how?
If you're presented with the opportunity to check out the girls' locker room...
That's a natural reaction for any guy!
The victim was Chihiro.
No, that's wrong! I'll tell you what's so strange about that. Because up until we actually discovered the body, we couldn't have known who the victim was. So your claim that you went to the girls' locker room first because Chihiro was the victim doesn't hold up.
I see. That's a good answer, I must admit. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. But your reasoning is still too weak.
Huh?
What's wrong? Is that it? Surely you've got more than that. Go ahead. Show us. What's the matter? You're not finished already, are you? There must be more to it.
There is. I think.
There is more to it. Think about it. We just talked about the differences between this case and past Genocide Jack incidents. The proof you're looking for is hidden in there.
Oh? Proof that I'm the culprit, you mean?
The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, I use my very own special scissors. And I use those same scissors to arrange the body.
But Chihiro was suspended with... It was some kind of rope. Was it not?
That's right! It absolutely was!
Then there must be something very fishy indeed about that rope.
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference? You want me to explain? When I want to kill, and I use those same... But, Chihiro, it was some kind of...
That's right! Then there must be something very fishy...
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get it from, huh?
I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference between the... You want me to explain? When I want to kill, and I use those same...
But, Chihiro, it was some kind of rope.
That's right! Then there must be something...
Hey, Byakuya, where'd you get...
I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference between the cases? You want me to explain it again? When I want to kill, and I use those same...
But, Chihiro, it was some kind of...
That's right! Then there must be some...
Hey, Byakuya!
I'd never seen that rope before in my life. Obviously, somebody else must have had it hidden away somewhere.
What? The difference? You want me to explain? When I want to kill, and I use those same...
But,
Chihiro, it was some kind of...
That's right!
Then there must be something very fishy.
Hey, Byakuya.
I'd never seen that rope before in my life.
No, that's wrong! Actually, I'm pretty sure you have seen it before. Because, you see, that rope, or should I say, that extension cord?
What? An extension cord?
Byakuya, you've used the extension cord in the library more than once, haven't you? And the same extension cord that was in the library all this time went missing after the murder. And there's no way someone who uses that extension cord as much as you do wouldn't discover that fact.
Then Byakuya must be the one who took the extension cord. I can't imagine any other possibility.
That's really what you think? Then your conclusion is something like this. I killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, then hung her up and wrote that bloody message. I intentionally made it look like Genocide Jack was behind it. Is that about right? What's wrong? I asked you if you think that's what happened.
Hell yes, that's what happened. So that's it, right? Byakuya's the killer.
I don't disagree with not disagreeing.
He kept calling this a game, right? So he'd be totally willing to do something like this to win.
Sorry, but could we hold on just a second? I think we need to talk about this a little more.
Huh? Do we really need to? We've already decided who did it.
I know, but still, there's something that's still bothering me.
Is that right? And what, pray tell, is still bothering you? I killed her in the girls' locker room, then disguised my crime. Specifically, I dressed it up to make it look like it was the work of a homicidal psychopath. What about all that bothers you?
I got it! You say you killed Chihiro in the girls' locker room, right? But are you sure about that? Isn't it possible that the murder took place somewhere else?
How disappointing. What kind of question is that? Even in the world of disappointments, this is a true letdown. She was found dead in the girls' locker room. There is absolutely no question about that. How could the scene of the crime have been anywhere else?
Well, I think it's entirely possible that she was killed somewhere else, then carried there later, along with the rest of the murder scene.
The rest of the murder scene? That was awfully specific. Please tell me you have a reason for saying all of that.
I believe I do.
Hey, don't just move on without permission! What do you mean she was killed somewhere else?
Come on, Makoto. If there's any chance the murder took place somewhere else, let's see the proof.
I got it! The proof that she was killed somewhere else is the poster that's hanging in each locker room.
Your proof is some posters?
The poster in the girls' locker room was a picture of a big-boobed supermodel. But don't you think that's kind of strange? Why would the girls' locker room have a poster like that?
I bet those massive jugs of hers were totally fake!
Meanwhile, the boys' locker room had a poster of the super popular boy band Tornado. Again, that doesn't really seem to belong in a boys' locker room.
So you're saying that maybe the posters were switched?
And there's one other thing I noticed about the locker rooms. You know what I'm talking about, right, Sakura?
You're referring to my protein coffee, aren't you?
Protein?
While I was in the girls' locker room earlier, I spilled some protein coffee on the carpet. But I noticed that after the murder, the stain had been totally scrubbed away.
Shoot! I got it! The stain on the girls' locker room carpet wasn't scrubbed away. In fact, I found it on the boys' locker room carpet.
That's definitely the stain from my protein coffee.
Then, does that mean that the carpets were switched too? But why would anyone do that?
To move the murder scene from one locker room to the other. It's certainly plausible, don't you think?
What?
In other words, in order to completely swap the scene of the crime, the blood-stained poster and carpet were moved along with the dead body. By doing this, the killer was able to change the entire room where the murder took place.
I can certainly follow your reasoning, but why would the culprit bother doing that?
Huh?
Why would they go to all that trouble of switching the scene of the crime? Actually, an even bigger question. If the murder did take place in the boys' locker room, then how did Chihiro get in the boys' locker room in the first place? To get into the locker rooms, you have to swipe your e-handbook across the card reader device, but Chihiro's handbook should have only allowed her access to the girls' locker room. She had no way to get into the boys' locker room to begin with.
No, she did have a way, and I can tell you what it was.
I highly doubt that.
Shut up! I'm telling you, I know how she could have done it.
Is it really possible? Could Chihiro really have gotten into the boys' locker room somehow?
Ah! I got it! She must have hacked her e-handbook! She was the ultimate programmer, after all. I'm sure that would have been no problem for her.
No, I don't think that's it. She used the thing that was in the main hall.
Huh? What thing?
I'm talking about Leon's handbook, of course.
No, that's wrong! No, I don't think Chihiro used Leon's handbook.
Why not?
Because Leon's handbook was broken.
Oh. Well, then, yeah, I guess that'd be pretty impossible, huh?
I am struck silent by how quickly you gave up.
Plus, isn't there a regulation against using someone else's handbook?
Actually, the rule states that loaning your handbook is prohibited. In other words, you could borrow a dead person's handbook all you want, and you'd be safe.
Yup, yup, yup! Hit the nail square on the noggin!
Of course, if it were broken, that wouldn't make any sense anyway.
So then, she must have hacked hers like I said. She used her ultimate programmer skills and...
Psst! You can't fix an e-handbook! The instant you open one up, a security buzzer starts blaring!
So, if she didn't use Leon's handbook, and she didn't modify her own handbook...
Maybe Mr. Naegi's initial assumption is just... wrong?
It seems like there's no way she could have got into the boys' locker room. So I guess so.
Okay then, I vote for Byakuya!
Hold on a second. I agree with you, though. I think you're on the right track.
What the? You finally decide to open your mouth and that's what you've got to say? There's no way she could get in the boys' locker room, right? So...
Why are you so sure she couldn't get in? There's still one other way she could have gained access.
What? What are you talking about?
Well, to explain that, why don't we take a little break from the trial? I'd like you all to come see something.
Wait! Just what do you think you're doing?
Don't worry. This'll make the whole trial more exciting. I'm sure that thought must please you.
Huh? It'll make things more exciting? Well, all right then. I declare an official class trial recess.
Huh? For real?
Now then, what is it you want to show us? It better not be boring or I'll be very unhappy.
Oh, I have no doubt it'll meet your lofty expectations. So, shall we go?
The girls' locker room?
We've already searched this place top to bottom! What are you trying to pull, Missy?
I'd like you to examine the victim's body one more time. Be sure to examine the entire body very carefully. Take your time.
Examine her carefully? Like using our hands?
No way!
It's probably best if I don't run my hands all over a girl's dead body.
It's not that I'm creeped out or anything, it's just based on religious grounds, you know?
Very well. I'll do it.
But you're a girl. You shouldn't have to touch a dead body. Just let one of the boys do it.
No, it's okay. I think Chihiro would rather have a girl examine her. So just leave this to me.
Sakura. What is this? Some kind of secret girl-on-girl action? Is that what you two are about? That's not it at all. Stop screwing around.
Okay, here I go. I'm sorry, Chihiro. Please excuse the intrusion.
Be sure to check her entire body, and I believe we will solve this particular mystery.
Her entire body? I know you say that, but what? This is... What is this?
What is it?
Not possible. It's not possible. This girl is
what?
Is a boy!
Ah, I see. So she was actually a he.
Interesting. Thank you for confirming this fact.
What? You're joking, right?
I wouldn't joke about this.
Then it's really true?
Chihiro was a guy?
Oh, what? You guys didn't know? Heck, I knew that right off the bat. Chihiro Fujisaki was totally a guy.
Then he was a cross-dresser? Oh, now I'm really on fire! I wish I had killed him!
So that's what Kyoko wanted to show everyone, huh? Interesting. Yes, that certainly does make things much more exciting. Now let's ride this wave of excitement back to the courtroom and get back to the trial. Ahem. I do apologize for keeping you waiting. Now then, let's resume the class trial. We've all just learned of the shocking revelation that Chihiro was actually a boy. Let's pick up from there.
Yes, well, I don't know his reason for hiding it, but the fact is, Chihiro was not a girl, but a boy. And because the victim was male, he would have had no problem gaining access to the boys' locker room.
Assuming his handbook did, in fact, list his gender as male, then yes, that would be true.
Of course his handbook said he was a boy. He dressed like a girl, but he was a boy through and through.
So then, there should be no issue with Makoto's initial assertion. The victim was killed in the boys' locker room, and was then later moved to the girls' locker room. And the killer could have easily used Sayaka or Junko's handbook to get into the girls' locker room.
So, Chihiro really was killed in the boys' locker room?
I still don't understand the motive for moving the body, but yes, that does seem plausible.
Well, I must admit, I did find it rather odd. I knew he felt a little off. There was a certain incongruity to his female body.
This is a most titillating situation!
So now everything has been connected. All the mysteries have finally become clear.
Okay, well, connected or clear or whatever. We still think you're the killer, remember?
Very interesting. This has become very interesting indeed.
He's off in his own little world.
What about you, Makoto? After everything we've learned, do you still think Byakuya's the killer?
Well, without a doubt, Byakuya is the one that made Chihiro's death look like Genocide Jack did it. But I think he might not actually be the killer after all.
What? But aren't you the one who accused him in the first place?
He just seems to be too easygoing about all this. Like he's enjoying us solving the mystery. The way he's acting, it makes it seem like it doesn't have anything to do with him.
And you think that might be because it doesn't have anything to do with him?
Plus, the evidence he left behind was a little too... how can I put it? Overt. He consciously chose to use the extension cord, knowing it could connect him to the murder. At least, that's how I see it. And Byakuya, when you found out the murder took place in the boys' locker room, it seemed to rattle you. And then again, when you found out Chihiro was actually a guy, if you really were the killer, that stuff wouldn't have had any effect on you.
So that's your thinking, huh? Well, it bothers me that you don't have more concrete reasons, but... it's fine. I guess I'll mark it as correct, for the time being.
Mark it as correct?
He's right. I am not the culprit. I just happened to come across the corpse in the girls' locker room and decided to alter it.
Are you fucking with us right now?
No, I am not effing with you right now. I'm telling you the truth.
Well, I find it very hard to believe!
Go ahead. Find it very hard to believe. You're free to be executed along with the rest of us.
If you're really telling the truth, then why? Why do you do that to his body?
My reasons hardly matter right now. Uncovering the culprit is much more important, wouldn't you say? Now then, if it wasn't me, who was it?
Well, I don't think I can say for sure without talking about it a little more.
We're seriously gonna keep going? We're all good, aren't we? I thought it was clear Byakuya did it.
No, I'm with Makoto. If there's any doubt whatsoever, we need to explore every possibility. Because if we're wrong, we all die here.
That's true. Very well then. I'm with you too.
Damn straight. Count me in.
Do you not have a mind of your own?
Of course I do.
Anyway, let's discuss this all as a group one more time. We still have time to make our decision.
That's very true.
Our lives are all on the line.
Excellent. Then shall we resume our game of hide and seek?
I got it!
Since the crime scene was the boys' locker room, you would need a boys' handbook to get in. Since Leon's handbook was apparently broken, the killer would have to use their own. In other words, it had to have been a guy. That's still not enough, so I need to find some more clues.
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Shoot!
But
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are one thing, but did nobody get a look at the killer?
I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah. All we need right now is any kind of new info.
It's over. It's all over. You want to know who saw the victim? The killer! And only the killer! And it's not like they're just gonna turn themselves in. Game over, man! Game over!
Yay! No! Not game over!
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, clues are one thing, but did nobody get a look at the killer?
I'm sure if someone saw the killer, they would have said something by now.
Perhaps someone saw the victim at some point. Even that might be enough for now.
Yeah.
All we need right now is any kind of
new info.
Shoot!
I'm getting low here.
Isn't there a single clue that might lead us to who did it?
Well, did nobody get... I'm sure if someone saw the killer...
Perhaps someone saw the victim at... Yeah.
It's over. You want to know who saw the victim? The killer!
And only the killer.
No, that's wrong. I believe someone else did see the victim before he was murdered. What do you think, Celeste?
Now that you mention it, yes, I did see him.
Huh? Really?
Oh, but I suppose only Makoto knows about this. The rest of you had no idea, did you? That is why you're all making such ugly noises.
Whatever! Just hurry up and tell us!
It was last night, right before nighttime. I saw Chihiro in the dormitory warehouse. I saw him stuffing a track jacket into a duffel bag, and then, I assume, he headed off to exercise.
A track jacket and a duffel bag? But we didn't find anything like that at the murder scene.
It seems likely that the culprit destroyed them to get rid of any evidence.
And that is when he said something that struck me as rather odd. Chihiro told me he was in a hurry. But why would he be in a hurry? Only if someone were waiting for him, I should think.
So, Mr. Fujisaki was on his way to meet with someone, and then they were going to work out together?
But Hina and I had invited him to exercise with us plenty of times, and he always declined.
Probably because he was afraid you'd find out the secret he was hiding, right?
Which means that conversely, he must have trusted whoever he was meeting with very much, enough so that he was willing to risk his secret being revealed.
What a marvelous friendship! The point is, whoever he met up with is the culprit, right? So we just gotta figure out who it was.
But knowing what we know, I can't even guess.
No, you already have what you need to make the connection.
Huh?
You know who the killer is.
Seriously?
Who is it? Who's the killer?
Think back to the track jacket and duffel bag the killer disposed of. Focus on the details of these items, and it should become obvious who was waiting for him.
Are you sure about that? You really think we can figure out who did it based on two pieces of evidence that we don't have?
What? You want to track down some fingerprints or something?
Even if we had the equipment for that, we wouldn't know how to use it.
As was noted, the evidence is already gone. There's nothing to get fingerprints from.
Maybe, but we can make certain inferences if we just take the time to talk it out.
Easy for you to say, but fine. Celeste, Did you notice anything special about the bag or jacket?
The bag was just a normal duffel bag from the warehouse. All the bags in there are the same, so I can't imagine what would make that one special.
Well, if I remember right, there was a decent variety of tracksuits to choose from. Do you think there might be some connection between the culprit and Chihiro's jacket?
Perhaps. Let's explore that and talk a bit more about the jacket he took.
This is really dragging on, dudes.
First of all, we know where Chihiro was headed. He was on his way to go exercise. So next we have to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! He picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing!
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue
tracksuit as him?
No, that's wrong!
You did it!
Hold on a second, Mondo. What did you just say?
Huh? What'd I say?
When Celeste testified a few minutes ago, she never said anything about the jacket's color. So why did you say Chihiro's blue tracksuit?
What are you just...
Hey, Celeste, what color was Chihiro's tracksuit?
As a matter of fact, it was blue.
And before we began the trial, did you tell anyone that?
The only one I told about any of this was you.
Then, Mondo, how did you know what color Chihiro's tracksuit was?
Because
I'm sure he saw the clothes at some point in the investigation.
No, that can't be it. The bag and clothes were surely disposed of by the time we began our investigation.
Then the only reason he could have known what color the tracksuit was is if he saw Cherry with it before he died! That's the only possibility! Cherry? Are you talking about Chihiro? So, how about it? Did you see the tracksuit or didn't you?
Just by chance. I just happened to see it last night. He walked past me, and he was carrying the tracksuit in his hands.
No, that can't be it either. According to Celeste's testimony, when Celeste noticed it, Chihiro made a point of making sure the jacket was completely in the bag. If you just ran into him briefly, you couldn't possibly have seen what color the tracksuit was.
Yeah.
It would appear you've dug your own grave.
Perhaps. But you handed him the shovel, didn't you? That's why you said what you did. Focus on the tracksuit and it'll be obvious who he met with?
Ah, now I understand. It was all one big bluff, wasn't it? Your true intention was to draw a slip of the tongue from the culprit. That's why you said you knew who did it. To put them on edge.
That's right. However, Mondo was my target all along. I had my suspicions about him from the very beginning.
But why? What made you so suspicious?
That's a good question. There was a certain turning point that tipped me off. Maybe you didn't notice it, Mondo, but you tend to refer to men and women differently. You only call guys dude. For girls, it's chick. And after he was killed, you happened to refer to him as dude. Once I picked up on that, it occurred to me that Mondo knew something we didn't.
You noticed such a tiny detail?
Are you a witch? She's a witch! You're positively frightful!
No, I'm not the frightful one. Not nearly as frightful as someone capable of murdering a friend.
Mondo, was it really you? Did you really kill Chihiro?
I didn't kill anyone! You've been all over me, judging everything I say, putting words in my mouth. What gives you the right to treat me like a goddamn criminal?
Yeah! He would never do something like that! This is a false accusation!
It's true. My reasoning on that is pretty shaky.
That was fast.
Well, this does present us with a problem. It seems we are all out of leads.
My time has nearly come. That's what my little ghost friend is telling me.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Hifumi, weren't you telling me you'd found some evidence?
Really? What kind of evidence?
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it here calmly, it might not be all that relevant.
Jeez, does your confidence just get up and walk away? It's fine, man. Just tell us.
If you really insist, then, here it is.
What do you have there?
It happens to be an e-handbook. I found it laying on the ground, so I scooped it up.
I got it! We know Chihiro's handbook was missing from the scene of the crime, right?
For a fact.
For a fact indeed! I was totally sure I'd found it.
Then it must hold some clue about the culprit, right?
Well, that's what I was hoping. But it's busted. It won't even turn on.
I imagine the culprit broke it to get rid of any evidence after the murder.
That's odd. I didn't think the handbooks were quite so fragile.
You're right. They're not. They're totally waterproof and shock-resistant. It would take an awful lot to break one.
And yet, this one does appear to be broken, as is Leon's, sitting useless in the main hall. For all your confidence, that is a remarkably high failure rate.
Do you think there might be some kind of mystery in there somewhere? How precisely did the handbooks get broken?
I got it! You already told us before that the handbook has one weak point, didn't you?
Ah! You remember that? Sure, maybe I let that slip, but I never told anyone what the weak point actually was.
But if the handbook is supposed to never break, and two of them broke in quick succession, then
we can only assume that someone's figured out its weakness. You know what the weakness is, right, Monokuma? So, what is it?
Huh? You're asking me?
I think it's a necessary piece of information if you want this to be a fair trial.
But if I tell you, and someone else decides to copy it, that would be very not good.
Just tell us already! Why would we want to break our own handbooks?
Oh well, I have a weakness for pushy demands. But you're sure you won't follow their example? Then allow me to make a special announcement. The weak point of my cutting-edge e-handbook is... when it's exposed to high temperatures for too long, it will suffer a meltdown and totally break!
I flippin' knew it!
You knew it?
Yeah, because I found the handbook laying on the floor of the sauna.
The temperature in the sauna can reach over 200 degrees. It's because as your sweat evaporates, it creates... If the hot air of the sauna were somehow pushed directly onto your skin, you'd definitely get fried. That layer of air would get blown away. That's why you may feel a burning when you move around. So when you're in a sauna, make sure to keep nice and still.
Wow, interesting. I learned one new fact today.
That is a mere trifling speck of knowledge.
Anyway, if you found the victim's handbook in the sauna, then the killer must have been purposely trying to raise its temperature in order to break it.
meaning the culprit somehow knew its weakness.
But how'd they find out? Monokuma said he didn't tell anyone, right?
Indeed. Quite the mystery.
What if they found out by accident?
What do you mean by accident?
What if the killer took their own handbook into the sauna, not knowing its weakness, and it broke? They'd realize it was broken, of course, and it wouldn't be hard to figure out why. And once they had Chihiro's handbook, they knew they had an easy way to dispose of it.
I won't say it's not possible, but Who would have done something like that? I don't know of anyone who took their handbook into the sauna.
I might know someone who did.
Whoa! Seriously?
I think the one who may have taken their handbook into the sauna was... Here's my answer! Mondo, your handbook got broken in the sauna, didn't it?
What? Why? Why do you keep accusing him?
Mondo and Taka had an endurance contest in the sauna not too long ago, remember? And for the contest, Mondo just so happened to keep his school uniform on. But little did he realize, he'd also left his handbook in one of his uniform pockets. And when it was all over, Mondo discovered that taking your handbook into the sauna could easily destroy it.
No, wait, hold on. You've got it all wrong. He would never kill. I don't accept this. Show me the proof. The actual solid proof.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
Oh, hang on, guys. Right, sorry about that, guys. I had to go answer the door. Right, let's continue with this.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct,
you broke your own. In other words, if then that proves that...
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine!
Oh, you're joking.
See? Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
You're joking.
let's test Makoto's...
If what he says you broke your own...
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is...
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
But no, that's wrong. Mondo, the handbook you have right now, is it really yours?
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
Language.
The broken handbook that was in the main hall, isn't that one actually yours?
What the heck are you talking about?
What I mean is, I think Mondo swapped his handbook out for one that actually works. I think he took Leon's handbook and replaced it with his own. After all, Monokuma said himself that Leon's handbook never should have broken.
That's right! The punishment it suffered wasn't nearly enough to destroy it.
So then, the broken handbook in the main hall is actually Mondo's, which would mean that the handbook Mondo has right now is actually Leon's, yes?
But doesn't that violate the school regulation that says...
Well, here's how I look at it. There is a rule about loaning your handbook to another student, but it's kind of a gray area, I admit. But no worries. If anything, it just makes things more interesting. As such, I I decree that exchanging handbooks with a corpse is not a violation of the rules.
Well, Mondo, if I'm wrong about this, you're welcome to say so. I'm happy to admit I made a mistake.
Son of a bitch.
Language.
What's wrong, bro? Come on! Tell him he's wrong! You are wrong! You have to be wrong! Everything you just said is wrong! You made it—
Okay, then why don't we look back on this case one more time, from the beginning? That way, everything will become clear.
Thank you. So, duffel bag. That has to be right.
Here's exactly what happened. First, let's take a look back to before the incident. Last night, Celeste saw Chihiro in the warehouse, correct? At the time, she was apparently stuffing something into a duffel bag. That something was a blue tracksuit. You can confirm this, right, Celeste? With bag in hand, Chihiro headed out, even though it was officially nighttime. She made her way to the locker room, specifically the boys' locker room. But how could the victim, who was apparently a girl, access the boys' locker room? Simple, because she was really a he, which is why he was able to use his own e-handbook to gain entrance to the boys' locker room. Once inside, he met with someone there. And the person he met was the one who killed him. It seems likely that the killer grabbed the nearby dumbbell, approached the unsuspecting Chihiro, and attacked him. The killer is you! And attacked him. And that's where the bloodstains on the poster and carpeting in the boys' locker room came from. It was likely in the... Which is why the killer hurried to try and hide the act. First, pulling up the bloodstained carpet, then removing the bloody poster, and finally carrying the corpse into the girls' locker room. A girl's handbook was necessary to get into the locker room, of course, but this alone doesn't prove that the killer was necessarily a girl. After all, Sayaka and Junko's handbooks had been placed in the main hall. Using one of those, a boy could get into the girls' locker room without much problem. The killer is you! After all, Sayaka and Junko's handbook, using one of those, a boy could...
I don't know then. What can it honestly possibly be? Like this? Grab that there like that. And then... I don't know, I want to fail this.
Here's exactly what happened! After all, Sayaka using one of those,
Yeah, I failed it. I don't know how it goes. I've tried everything. There's quite literally no other reason how this could have gone.
the killer is you! After all, Sayaka using one of those...
I failed it. That's the other thing.
Is...
Yeah, of course I want to give it
I
another
refuse
shot.
to give up yet!
I've tried everything in there. So that goes there, quite simple. And swipe in, simple. Dumbbell. Like that. And the poster. Girls' locker room. from the other locker room switch out to see the crime. The only other thing would be that. He then walked in. He used that. Bathhouse. What in the hell? What happened to it?
The killer is you!
It has to be.
First, let's take a look.
Alright, we've already seen this. Let's skip
Last
past all
night,
of this.
at the time. That's. With bag and. But how could the. Simple, which is. Once. It seemed.
Yeah, already done.
And attacked it. And that's where. It was likely in the heat of the moment. Which is why then removed. And finally carrying a girl's handbook, but this alone doesn't. After all, Sayak using one of those, a boy could. And that's exactly with the carpet and the poster they changed the layout of the boys' and girls' locker room in what you might call a crime scene switch. That could have been Yakuya discovered the body and decided to intervene in the situation.
Okay, so that doesn't go there. What was it? It was a murder. That would be this. Disguise it. Then he wrote the death message.
Here's exactly what happened. That could have been the end of things. Yakuya discovered the body and decided. So, after stumbling on the crime scene, he went and grabbed the extension cord from the library, and then he got to work. He used the cord to string up Chihiro's lifeless body. Then, using the victim's own blood, he left a grisly message there at the scene of the crime. He wanted to create the illusion. And around the same time that Byakuya was putting together this facade, the killer, having already disposed of Chihiro's bag and other belongings, arrived at the sauna. There, they planned to destroy the last piece of evidence, Chihiro's handbook. And just as the killer expected, the steamy sauna was enough to ruin the electronic gadget. Somehow, the killer knew that the handbook couldn't stand up to the heat of the sauna. And the reason they knew that is because the sauna had already wrecked their own handbook. And that's how it all played out. Isn't that right, Mondo Owada?
Wait! No! This can't be right! Where's your evidence? Yeah! Where's your evidence? You need evidence! You need proof! Without any proof, you can't pin any of this on him!
Alright, let's give this a go.
Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! False! I refuse to vote! Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! False! You're corrupt! I refuse to vote! I refute you! False! You're corrupt! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! I refuse to vote! Show me some evidence!
I didn't fail that!
Is...
Dare everyone give it another shot?
I refuse to give up yet!
Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! False! I refuse to vote! Show me some evidence! You're wrong! I won't listen! I refute you! False! Show me some evidence! I won't listen! Show me some evidence!
This should prove it!
There we go.
If my thinking so far is right, Mondo must have replaced his broken handbook with Leon's. In which case, we can just check each of our handbooks right now. Once we do that, we'll...
We don't gotta do that.
Huh?
Yeah. I did it. I killed him.
Yeah, you got coins.
Bro, what are you saying?
I got no choice, man. After hearing all that, I gotta just... give up. Go ahead, Monokuma. Get it over with. Ask for the goddamn verdict.
Roger that!
Wait! Hold on!
No waiting! No holding on! Time for the moment we've all been waiting for! Grab your lever and give it a yank! Who will you elect as the Blackened this time around? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? What? Ta-da!
Mondo,
Unbelievable.
in case you're wondering, the vote was not anonymous. Kyoto. But you're trading very close to danger zone, Mr. Mashimaro. You need to be more careful. I refuse to believe it. There's no way he would kill someone.
Sorry.
Sorry.
What is this?
Why? Why did you do it?
Now then. Actually... Ha!
Now let's get past this.
What?
That's right. I want to change.
Uh-huh.
Correct. Indeed.
Wasn't that to cover up what he had done?
Certainly.
That could have been part of it, but I don't think it was the main reason. The real purpose was to keep the promise between men he made to Chihiro. But how does removing the body keep his promise?
Because
if everyone knew he'd been killed in the boys' locker room, then everyone would have been arguing about how she got into the boys' locker room, right? Once that started out, at least a few of us would have immediately begun to suspect his identity, so he tried to protect Chihiro's secret by putting him in the girls' locker room and stealing his handbook. Then Mondo did all that to keep the promise he'd made to Chihiro.
I knew it.
What is this?
Something he didn't want anyone to know, even if
You're wrong!
It's impossible.
Don't make me
How many
repeat
times
myself.
must I repeat myself? To judge others by your own standard is the height of folly.
Hey,
He killed his own brother. But the only reason he had the chance to join a gang in the first place was because of Satsuma. Mondo's older brother, his name was Daya Owada. Mondo had nothing but respect for him. It was because of Daya that Mondo ever got onto a motorcycle. Mondo's brother was only family growing up. He was the only one Mondo could trust or respect. He wanted to measure up to his big brother, so he imitated him in everything he did. Mondo was the epitome of the starry-eyed kid brother. Meanwhile, the charismatic older brother had put up together a motorcycle. But when Mondo started to think about how he would have to take over the gang from his older brother someday, his brother's greatness, his reputation began to gnaw on Mondo's very soul.
I just... Don't fuck with me!
Language. Racing treasure teacher. The kid brother pushed ahead with reckless abandon, eager for victory, and dashed into an oncoming traffic. Suddenly, laying in his kid brother's arms, the older brother delivered his final words. My bad, kid. I hecked up, sir. Of course he knew it was his brother's fault, but I never blamed him for what happened. Run to his own older brother. No matter what, I couldn't let the other gang members find out. If that had happened, everything would have been ruined. Everything me and my brother had worked to create would have been destroyed. His death, all the guilt I'd been carrying around would have been nothing. After I saw what Monokuma had on me, my head filled up with kind of fuzzy uneasiness and just started swirling around. I never felt like anything. I didn't know what to do about it. I wasn't sure what to think or say, but after a while, that fuzzy uneasiness turned itself into a hard rock of anxiety way down to my stomach. I don't remember anything after that. When I woke up again, he was laying at my feet and covered in blood. I had the dumbbell in my hand and I was just staring at him down on the ground.
I killed even after all this time. I'm still just as weak as I've always been. And thanks to that, I did something I can never take back.
Yep.
It can't be.
Well now.
Ridiculous.
Now then, let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time!
Sorry, man. I couldn't keep the promise we made. From one man to another.
Laugh at death and your soul will forever be at peace. It can't be, my brother. Another murder, another execution. I want to feel again. Everyone's lives are taken so lightly. I feel like I might go mad, but I feel like I'll just let it happen. Right, I'm gonna leave it off at that, and I shall see you guys in the next one if it will let me. Right. Yeah. This has dragged on for way too long now, so. Right. I would like to thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.